Welcome to today's presentation, where we have the pleasure to present GomSpace. To help us through today's presentation, an old friend of our company and have been here many times, so thank you for that, CEO Carsten Drachmann. Today's event, a little overview of the latest news flow. I think you already have it here, scaling for growth. I think that has been the main of this news flow. But the main part of this will be a Q&A, so do feel free to ask questions. Already a lot of questions has come in, so see if someone has been asked in a little bit other way. But we will try and get through as many questions as possible. And of course, you can do it in Danish, and I'll try to translate to the best of my ability. But for now, I think I will hand the presentation over to you, Carsten, and then we go to Q&A afterwards.
Thank you, Michael. So welcome all. Good to be here again. It's always fun to talk. Yes, I'm reading on the chat forums. I've seen your questions. I see all the many questions coming in. It's really, really good. And want to thank you for the interest. Today is a special day. For some reason, it sort of always happens. We have this presentation. Today is my wedding anniversary with my wife. I got a little present this morning. Don't know if you can see it. So I have little rockets here, which is absolutely symbolizing where we are with the company. So thank you, darling. I love you, and looking forward to dinner tonight. But the rest of you are not invited. So let's move into the business here. So just a quick reminder, we'll do investor communication. I'll talk about financing, product orders, new satellite order, great 18 satellites. We like it. Scaling, and of course, Q&A, as Michael has indicated. Clarity and communication, the principle we run internally, the principle I'm trying to push towards you all the time. I try to make it as clear as possible. I try to communicate to you when I can and when I should. Reminder, we do quarterly reporting. Q1 and Q3 are these, more like a summary. They're very short. Q2 and Q4 are going to be longer. It's also why the next presentation is August 27th, so it's a little bit further in because we have to do a bit more work there, but that's all good. We have given guidance on revenue, EBITDA, and free cash flow. Remember, I will immediately do a press release on new information that has significant impact on the share price. So you can count on that if there's something significant, I will tell you. So if I don't tell you anything, nothing significant has happened. I also do other press releases. You've seen a number of them. Some have been more this week. Others have been for your information, trying to keep you up to date on where we are so you can follow as much as possible. And as usual, I really encourage you, if you're not on LinkedIn or our Facebook or Instagram, please sign up. You get a lot more information there. You can see how our products are evolving. We have a new head of marketing who's done a really good job the last 6 months in pushing our brand. And we have actually reached more than 25,000 investors, followers on LinkedIn, which is quite an achievement, actually more than most of our competitors. Anyway, let's get to it. New capital, or at least access to capital. We have made an agreement with Peter Hargreaves to refinance the original European Investment Bank loan, EIB. Some of you might remember, those who have been there longer, we did that in 2022-23. As part of a package. What we have done now is that Peter Hargreaves, who absolutely loves GomSpace and as you can feel really wants to support our journey here, will take over this financing. And we took in 23, early 23, we took 5 million euros from that loan. There's still 13 million euros back. So basically it means we have a credit facility now reconfirmed with Hargreaves of 145 million SEK. So I have a line of credit, if you like. You can go to Hargreaves tomorrow and get that money. So this is a nice, good extra facility that we have available to fuel our growth. Why did we do it? Well, a couple of things. EIB is sort of a publicly owned bank. They have a lot of covenants and restrictions. The previous loans were tied to R&D, some specific things we had to do. This is now unrestricted. It's the same amount, but we can use it for whatever we want to, which is much stronger for us. I don't have to worry about only doing specific things for the money. So this is really good. It aligns very well with our strategy that we announced in March, where we also announced a capital increase that I'm sure we'll talk about later from Hargreaves. So it's matching the growth ambitions we have now. We have much stronger terms, much less restrictions, and it has been reset so that this whole thing starts over. We have 5 years for the first tranche we have taken, and we have a couple of years where we can decide whether we want to take the next money. So this is really, really good. That has been extended like that. And also, what do you think, EIB or Hargreaves as a credit facilitator? I'll pick Hargreaves any day because he's also invested in the company, so we'll have a very different attitude towards us. So this is good. Now it means not only do we have, and you have, as other investors, you have a very, very strong investor in Hargreaves, and he's now backing this with a credit facility as well, and he's in it for the long term. He's not going to run anywhere. So it's a very strong commitment we have there. Product order growth announced this Monday, or just at the end of the first half. It's up from 28 million SEK in the first half last year to 65 million, 130% increase. That's really good. I saw there were some questions about, is it good or bad? Yeah, it's good. And there were questions, so do you think it's going to slow down? No, I strongly believe in the product business unit. This is the right place to be. We have good margins. Sure, there will be fluctuations on quarters, but overall, I'm expecting a continuous growth over time. But a great achievement, good start of the year, and obviously we're hoping that the trend is continuing to be seen. Remember, the cycles are quite short. It's sort of 3 months at a time, so we don't have this long visibility for the product business unit. When we get an order, we are actually able to deliver within a quarter or something like that. So it's a bit more up and down, but the benefits are good. 18 satellites, 12 months, 250 million SEK. Fantastic order. We've been working on this for quite some time. Hard work, and a big thanks to the team here at GomSpace. It's really been a very strong collaboration between our development, project management, production, commercial team. This was definitely it was a good win. It was a tough win, and it was teamwork. So that's really good. In essence, 18 satellites, they're exactly the same satellites to be delivered in 12 months. This is good. This is hitting towards where we want to be. Bigger contracts, more volume, repeatability. Repeatability is good for us. Many of the satellites we built now are sort of all a bit different, so they're a bit harder to do, cost a bit more. With the repeatability, it's great, and we can scale up our production. I'm standing in front of it here. There was a question online I saw, do we have enough capacity, etc.? Yeah, we do. This was built, thank you to my predecessors here. They invested in this. We've got plenty of space to build satellites. It's not a problem. It's more about gearing resources and processes. So it's really helping us scaling on our platform. So our Initial Flight Pro and platform, that's also why they chose us. It's pushing us now to be able to build more in volume. There was a question on, so how fast do we need to build them? In the actual assembly process, which you see here behind me, where we put all the bits and pieces together and now it comes a satellite, it's probably within 3 months. So it's more than 1 per week in average we're going to build. So that's great. It also confirms market traction. There is an increase in market here. We were selected amongst a range of suppliers, and we were able to go in and in the end convince the customer that we have the right capabilities, we have the flight heritage we needed. And I want to say also, we have the capital needed to do it, thanks to Hargreaves and the backing. Makes a big difference. I don't actually think we could have done this without having additional capital coming in, purely because you have to have more robustness on your balance sheet, which we now start to have. So this is also great. So 250 million SEK over 12 months. I leave the math to you. So in general, it's helping us accelerate our growth strategy, not only in production, but also in procurement, and we'll get back to that in a second. So long-term outlook, well, we're not going to give you an update on guidance, but obviously this is not something that's pulling our guidance down. It supports what we have said so far. Last but not least, scaling the production. I think all of the above, the 3 little boxes you have here, 145 million additional capital. This is over and above the 196 that we get as actual equity from Hargreaves. Talk about that later. Additional product order intake and this large order, we have to scale our production. And in this context, it's not the assembly that you see behind me. It's actually the production of the individual components, the power supplies, the onboard computers, the battery packs. We have now signed an agreement with Nikas, who is in the local area here outside of Aalborg. And the reason we do it is that we actually don't have enough capacity short-term in our own production to do this. And we also want to prioritize perhaps a couple of other more complex production path that we have here. And our product starts to be stable, of a quality that we can outsource. So you can't outsource something that's not quality, but we have a decent quality that can be outsourced. So we use it as a scalable, a way to scale up short term, both for the big contract that we have coming in now and in general the trend we see on the product order intake. And it's really supporting going into these high volume contracts. There will be more of those contracts coming in the future. Who's going to win them? Well, you need to have the technology, you need to have the track record, you need to have the flight heritage, but you also need to show that you've actually done it before. It's unlikely to win 200 satellites and you never build more than one at a time. So this is also helping us in this growth journey that we are on here. So for us, it's about, so I don't want to do that right now. So it's about scaling. So please understand, it's not about, oh, we're going to outsource everything and we don't do continue our electronic production, our product module production. No, not at all. We absolutely continue full speed ahead. This is a way to deal with those bumps going up and down, being more prepared. So we have an external partner who can do that. When we have a lower demand, we will not buy from them, and the demand goes up. So we have this flexible approach, which makes it much better for us rather than endlessly scaling and increasing fixed costs. Want to repeat and make it clear, it is not outsourcing of the assembly, which you see behind me, where we put it together. That we'll continue to do ourselves. It is outsourcing of some of the bits and pieces that is actually safely put outside. They can scale quickly and they can ramp down again, and we don't have to add any more resources or staff to do that. With that, I think we can move over to Q&A.
Perfect. Let's jump into the questions, Carsten. Let's stay by this order, so it's a little bit fresh. As you said, it's a proof of concept order. There's a little bit whether you want to give any guidance on outside the 18 satellite. How big can this program be?
Yeah. So my focus right now is that we worked hard to win the contract. My focus is to deliver the 18 satellites within the agreed period. I can't say now what might come after. It's unclear. But I can say one thing is that by focusing on delivering, you build trust. Customer trust leads to more business. And whether it's directly with this customer or as a consequence of working with this customer is a different matter. But there is no doubt that being able to do this on time with quality, and it's everybody in the market knows about this deal, also our competitors, it is qualifying us for more business.
And then maybe, can you tell anything about the purpose? And maybe we can get an idea on how big this client needs their satellite program to be besides these ones. So can you tell us a little bit about the purpose?
Well, what we are doing is to help them launch these 18 satellites, and then have to do a service, certain function, and show that you can do a certain service in space. As you have noticed, I didn't release the name on the request from the customer, so they prefer to remain private for now. They have a lot of private and very prominent investors behind them, but they prefer to remain under the radar as such right now.
Perfect. And then on the financing side, you maybe touched a little bit upon it. I guess you don't want to speak more about it, but there's a question here. Financing, has this customer financed their project?
So we, as I said, we enter into this with a very strong balance sheet. And the reason we could do this is because we were able to ramp up early. We were able to go out and take the risk on buying components, actually, even before we signed a contract. It paid off because we could keep the timeline. Of course, we have a contract that the customer has to pay for this. So, yes.
And the timeline is 12 months. There's also, just to make it 12 months, perfect.
12 months, yes. Yeah. A very specific launch date and a very specific timeline on this.
Good. Then a little bit on the defense and on this side, there's which areas of the defense industry do you see possibilities in the coming years, as they say, Greenland, North Sea, Indonesia, the rest of the world, and how is the competitive situation looking out? So if you can touch a little bit upon where you see the biggest opportunities in the defense industry. Yeah.
So I would say all of the above. They are for defense and government. Let's say defense and government, it's two different things, but globally there is opportunities are growing. One of the, we'll talk about the Singapore deals also. One of the deals we have from Singapore is actually in relation to the defense. You know, in the past we've had the Colombian Air Force investing here. So there is opportunities growing everywhere. That's also why I want to be in the US. They are investing a lot more, as you know. Now, EU is catching up, but the government is investing a lot more, both in civil uses, but also for defense purposes. So that's why we want to be. So in general, yes, it is growing. You can ask a different question, where is growing the fastest? It's not in Denmark. We are super slow. I've said it over and over again. So absolutely to the questions, are you working on Greenland? Are you working on in the Baltics? Yes, yes, and yes, of course we are. So I can guarantee you the reason we are not announcing anything is not because we're not working on it, but it takes time, and Indonesia is slow. Let's not talk about Denmark.
Okay, and there's also a question, did you get anything out of the meeting with the National Defense Technology Center?
Yes, I did. We got, and somebody obviously knew I was there. We did get some new good contacts. We followed up with old friends there, and I got a confirmation of what I just said. Things are too slow in Denmark. In general, there's the opinion. There were a number of politicians there. There was also industry people. There were also people from our defense forces. The common agreement is that we're too slow in Denmark. So that was nice to be there and be reconfirmed in what we're saying.
Perfect. And you touched upon on Indonesia. Anything news you can share or something give comfort in stomach? I think you keep saying when and not if. So is that still the language you would use?
I will use my usual answer is that I am obliged to tell you if something significant is changing, which means if something goes really bad, I'll tell you immediately. If something goes well in the right direction, I'll tell you. So when I don't tell you anything, my confidence is the same as it was before. I think that's, but as you know, some of you saw, I went to Indonesia with Lars Løkke in April, and that was to apply more political pressure towards the Indonesian government to try and speed up the process. And we also have our Danish ambassador there working tirelessly to make sure that all the political, let's say, points are lined up in the way it should be. So we're working through it. We are pushing it. I cannot give you more information on that, but if it goes wrong, I will tell you immediately.
And then a little bit to Singapore. And as I mentioned here, you have been in a podcast talking about it. I am afraid I haven't seen the podcast, but there you indicated very good momentum. I don't know whether the podcast was or whether that was indicating some of the orders you got in 24. I think you got a big one in the summer and a small one in December, but a little bit about what you have told in a podcast about Singapore.
Yeah, so I love you guys out there on the chat forums, and it doesn't matter. You pick up on anything, doesn't matter the language or where it's happening, so that's great. Yeah, it was a podcast about people. It's about networking. So if you haven't listened to it, listen. I think the topic is quite good, and we talked a lot about how one of the reasons that we turned GomSpace around is about people. And as you know, I think it's all about people. You create clarity, you create communication, get people to work together. We will be successful, but you really, really have to invest in that. So that was the topic. In that, we also talked about it's going well. And we talked about networking, and my network is also from Singapore, where I lived for some time. So that is why we have been able to engage. As to the specifics, yes, you're right, Michael. It was last year, 2024. We signed 2 contracts, total contract value of 158 million SEK, I believe, in total. And that was an opening into Singapore. And obviously working on that, and as I said before, we need to focus on delivering on time with quality. Trust is building. With trust comes more business. So we have a good foothold in Singapore now.
Then a little bit about the scalability, and I think you already touched upon it and with your newest agreement with a sub-supplier. But there's a question here. You mentioned 1 satellite. There's a question here. What does it take to go to 2 satellites per day?
I think the question was on per week.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, yeah. So we are. If I said before, in about 3 months, we will assemble 18 satellites. So if you do the math, there's actually a bit more than 1 per week. So we have all the capacity we need here, the physical surroundings. We're investing in a little bit more test equipment to be able to do more things in parallel. But outside of that, we're sort of geared to it. It's more a question of changing our work processes a bit. And the beauty of this is it's 18 exact same satellites, makes it a lot easier to build than 18 different types of satellites.
And then there's a question a little bit about the bottlenecks. Are you seeing some bottlenecks anywhere in this scalability? And maybe not a bottleneck, but where do you see the largest problem by scaling up?
I never see problems, I only see opportunities. So we have an opportunity to scale up our production, which is why I love the deal. I love this deal financially. I also love it because of the size, and it's really pushing our organization to be able to produce. So as going back and say, we have all the facilities here. So it's really about the training of people and the processes, rethinking how do you build 18 satellites in a very short period of time. So I would say I see only opportunity to get better at this, and we have the resources we need to do it. So I'm fairly confident that we can.
And bottlenecks, is it people? Is there anywhere where you see
Okay. Let's talk about change. So what's changing from what we used to do? It's the approach we take in our lab here behind us, our production facility. We have one satellite on one table, and then we build a whole satellite. As an example, what we're going to do now is we're going to build part of the satellite on one table, then we're going to build the next part on the next table, and the next part on the next table. So it's simply about changing our process and the way we are working. And instead of one person building one satellite, we have 5 persons, each building 1/5 of a satellite, but becoming really, really good at that to minimize error and to maximize time. So it's not a bottleneck per se, but it is a different way of approaching it. And luckily, we do have the people that understand how to run that.
And then in terms of forecast demand and growth within recruiting, have you planned you may need moving forward? It identified any key areas where you need to recruit more people or grow the teams?
Yeah, absolutely. We first of all, I would say I grow cautiously in having the largest organization in the world at all. I would like to have a growing business and profitable business, which we're heading towards now, as you can see from the reports we've done. Are there specific areas? Yes, I've been out before and say sales and business development. We are in a global market, opportunities are globally, so we can't sit with a few people in a few places to do this. So we are investing in more sales resources, as announced earlier, into Asia, to the Middle East, potentially also to Latin America. You know, we're growing in North America. Just put in a new, very strong vice president for North America. So I would say sales and BD a lot, and the other side that we are growing is solutions, solution business. I've said that before also. We will look more into a end-to-end solution. Indonesia as an example, where we together with our partner Ellipse Projects are delivering a complete solution to the customer. So not just a satellite, but a complete solution. So there's no doubt our business is moving in that direction as well. Doesn't mean we'll not do products or the so-called platforms or programs. Absolutely, we will. We are really good at that. We continue that, but we can expand towards end-to-end solutions. So long answer to a short question, we are investing in solution and salespeople.
Perfect. And then to the letterman today who sent out some tariff letters, but here is the question. US tariff, is it going to hit you? And you have earlier stated, and I have also seen that you're not so afraid of the tariffs, so why not?
No, it may or may not hit us, but I think we don't have a lot of business in the US right now, and other companies are in doubt what's going to happen. If you have a big sale, of course, you hit your margin immediately. I look at it differently. I look at North America, US as a land of opportunity. There's so big budgets. It's 60-70% of the total accessible market we have is actually North America, and we hardly have a presence. So I'm not worried about profitability. I want to get a piece of the pie. I think we've earned the right to get a piece of the pie. We have the technology, we have the brand, and we are gearing up there. If over time it means lower profitability, okay, we'll deal with it at that time. But right now, I just want to get a much stronger foothold, get the pipeline up, and then we'll figure out about tariffs. And hey, you know, the guy's only there for another 3 years. Maybe it's changing. So I'm not worried about that. I just want to build the presence and the market share.
And then you actually, I think maybe you gave a good answer, but there is a question. The Q2 in isolation, not the half year, was a little bit weaker than Q1. I think you had 43 million, and then the rest going into the second quarter. So yeah. The question is here: is the normal seasonality, or are you still seeing this growing? And I think you answered that quite well already.
Yes, I strongly believe in our product business. It's a really good model where we basically have a range, and we have the biggest catalog in the world, remember, because we started so early, so we have actually a much bigger offering than anybody else. It's customer see, customer like. They order, supply chain, production, ship, collect cash. We don't have any engineering resources involved. So it's a very, very different business from our contract business. So I strongly believe in that business model is good. We have the offering we need. Are there fluctuations on quarters? Yes, of course, there is. We could also have half of it shifted into Q2, and then we had a bad Q2 and a good a bad Q1 and a good Q2. But what I'm looking at is it going in the right direction in average? And the answer is yes, it is.
You are measuring more on 12-month rolling basis, I guess. That's a better indicator. How should we interpret it?
Yes.
Perfect. Then a little bit about the share issue, and maybe to rule out some mistakes here. There's one saying, is it a little bit news about this emission and if the FDI approval? Let's start by that. Do we have any news to share with us about the FDI approval and a little bit about this share emission?
Yes, and I saw there were some other questions in that relation also with regards to potential offering from Hargreaves. So let me back it up a little bit and answer. First of all, so what's happening? What's happening is that we have a very strong investor, Peter Hargreaves. He's a long-term investor. He has a lot of money, more than most people in the world will have. He's very interested in space. He absolutely loves GomSpace. He's done a couple of things. He went in 2022 and basically saved the company. And now he's coming back when we say, okay, thank you very much. We're now back on track. We need more for expanding. He's actually there. He's there now with more capital, as I will answer the FDI process in a second. And also now we have a refinancing the EIB loan on much better terms for us. So it's a really, really good story. I'm very pleased and I'm very privileged that we have Peter Hargreaves, which then allows me also to help for all investors to grow the business. I also want to say that we said before, and I did ask Peter Hargreaves, he's not here to buy the company. That's not his interest. He wants to help the company as it is. He's not speculating in, oh, let's buy it. If he wanted to buy the company, he would have bought it when the share price was at 3. I mean, so come on. So he made his money for a reason. He's a smart guy. So he really wants to support us. He liked what we're doing. In terms of the FDI process, yes, it's ongoing. What can I say? EU. We have filed in 3 different countries. It's actually an EU rule, foreign direct investment. It's a fairly new rule that you have to do this, and we have to file in both Luxembourg, Sweden, and Denmark. And I can tell you, it has been absolutely painful, but it is filed. We're waiting for the outcome. I don't even want to guess when it's happening. We're still hoping in Q3, as I had said. But let me bring it to the next thing. There's a lot of questions, and I keep getting questions on, so what's going to be the mandatory offer?
Yeah.
Let's talk about what is a mandatory offer. The mandatory offer is that when a single shareholder goes beyond 30%, and actually in this case beyond 40%, he is required by law to make an offer in the market. Those are the rules. As I've said, Hargreaves have no interest in buying it, the company as such, so that's not his intention, but he has to make an offer. Okay. Normally, the trigger for making the mandatory offer is the issuance of shares. So meaning the date that you will issue shares to Hargreaves, he passes the 40%, and then he has within a certain time frame, he needs to make an offer to the market. This is with Hargreaves. Actually got nothing to do with me and got nothing to do with GomSpace. It's completely investor related. I'm trying to relate to you the information I have from our legal counsel. So the next thing is, okay, so what's happening now? Because the FDI process is actually dragging out a lot, much more than what we have thought once we start understanding what it is. And I know there are some questions about what is the share price. Well, the answer is the share price will be set 20 days VWAP before the issuance of shares. There is a however that I have been informed. It seems to be an interpretation because normally it wouldn't take this long. It's because of the FDI process is pushing out the share issue. And the FDI process, the foreign direct investment approval, has got nothing to do with the mandatory offer. It just so happens that they're colliding. So therefore, the best I can say to you right now, it is unclear whether the share price should be set around the time of the announcement in March, or will it be set at the end of the FDI approval. I don't want to guide anymore on that, and all of this, I'm purely taking it from legal advice.
I think that's a very good question. There's an however, and there's always a however in these amended rules. I read them and understand that, and of course the share price has appreciated a lot. So there's a however, but as you also maybe suggested, he's not, he's not trying to take over the company. So maybe it's a little bit theoretical. But I think you have given the answer what you got from your lawyers, and as you said, it has actually nothing to do. So I think it's very welcome that you comment on it, but even if you don't need it. So thank you, Carsten.
Welcome.
And then there's a question on Peter Hargreaves. Actually, is there anything the shareholders can do for him? So I think that's kind of nice.
No, absolutely. And thank you for that question. I loved it because he's done a lot for you guys out there by providing the financing required over the years. So yes, believe in the case, believe in GomSpace, and believe in, and when a guy like that goes in, like I said, he made his money for a reason. He's not stupid. So when he's doing something, he has a long-term purpose. So I suppose the best I can say, you want to do something from Hargreaves is to continue to believe in GomSpace and the future the way that he's doing. So I think that would be the best thing.
Perfect. Then what does the launch of Bifrost for GomSpace ambition around the Arctic surveillance mean? Does that mean anything?
No, it means nothing. It's one of our colleagues around the corner. He has launched that with DALO, the Danish Defense Organization, and others. This is great. It's been going on for 7 years, so it's been a very long project that has now come to fruition. It's perfectly fine. I'm actually glad that the Danish Defense finally are engaging into this and start learning. In this, it's interesting, just fun facts. This is not the first satellite that the Danish Defense launched. They actually launched the GomX4 in, I believe it was 2019, with GomSpace. They actually paid for it. We launched 2 of them. ESA paid 1, and the Danish Defense paid the other one. But you know what? They didn't do anything with it. It's just been flying. We've been taking down data. And we cried a little tear a couple of months ago because after 6 years we had to decommission it, which went perfect. It was deorbited. It went through the atmosphere as it should and burned up exactly as planned. And it lived for 6 years, so that was really good. So I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about the Danish Defense and the government actually starting to take this seriously and building the capabilities they need. And I think the Bifrost is going to help build that capability. So we are not the limiting factor. The industry is not the limiting factor here. It's the speed with which defense can start learning how to use this. And once they have learned, they will also start buying.
Perfect. And it's not that I left it out, but I guess we will now get to the little bit more muddy part or muddy answers. Is my guess. We're going to a little bit about the guidance and the future growth expectations. I probably already know what you're going to answer, so I left them in the end. But the first questions, what are your expectations in terms of growth for the coming 3 years and onwards?
So am I expecting growth? Yes, I think it's the best way to answer that. Let's look at all the things that are happening now. Let's repeat the factors that I just showed you. We have more capital coming in, both from equity and also from loan facility. We just closed a major contract for 18 satellites. We have the biggest backlog coming out of 2024 that we've ever had, the most solid backlog with profitability. We just deliver a first half on a product order intake, biggest ever for the first half and way beyond where we were last year. So you add the pieces together. Do you think it's going to grow into the future? Yeah, there's a pretty good chance. And what we have now is that we're building the more solid backlog, progressing in different parts of the world. We're building the stepping stones. We're building the stepping stones for moving forward and creating that growth story. And now we have the cash also to back it. I think some of you remember the first 2 years of my time here was very, very cash focused on just managing cash to get to the free cash flow, which we did last year, as we said, as a target. So we achieved our goal. Now we have more cash. We build a trust. More cash is coming in. We are closing business. And obviously, we are not sitting around waiting, right? We are out hiring salespeople, as I told you. We are out building more pipeline. So all of that, I think, rather than me telling you that what I think is I'm focused on building the bits and pieces that create and enable that growth that we all would like to see in the future. And I think we're on a pretty good track.
Perfect. I didn't actually expect an answer, so thank you. Now I'm pretty sure I will not get an answer. There's a question here. Your current guidance 320 to 380 million SEK. Analysts are expecting 419. Is this possible?
I'd say same answer as before, right? We're building all the momentum here. There's for sure that we have this big order coming in now, and the product order intake is not going to put us, let's say, in the lower end. It's obvious, and you do the math also with all the facts you have. The order backlog at the end of last year was quite big, and I already told you that we have 70 in the program business. We had about 70% in the order backlog. This is statements from earlier for the year. So you do the math, when you add 215 million on top, it's probably okay. Update on guidance, let's answer that directly, so because you're going to ask it anyway. We will do that normally on a half year. We're just working on closing the second quarter numbers, doing everything we need to do there. So when we come to Q2, then we'll see if we do an update. Remember also here, if there's a significant change in what I have told you, I have to tell you immediately. So at the point in time, I'm comfortable to say there's a change in whichever direction outside of the guidance we've given, I will give it to you immediately.
And you also have a guidance on cash flow. I guess that's within a year. So there's a question here, is cash flow positive? I don't know whether it's in the full year, expect that, or right now. And I guess we probably also have to wait and see to the reporting or to get an answer on this one.
Yes, I would say, but I can give you again, you can do the math. It's two different kinds of cash flow. There's a free cash flow, which is coming directly from operation. Obviously, if we start investing more, we're building bigger inventory to be able to respond faster. That's going to cost some money up front. Cash in bank, well, we have access to 145 million very soon, and we have another almost 200 million coming in. So cash in bank, not a problem. Operational cash flow might be closer to the zero, as I have indicated, but for a good reason, because we are investing in doing more.
The working capital. Perfect. Carsten, I think that was the last question. There's a final comment. If you are needing a mathematical engineer, then someone would really like to work for your company that is in progress. I guess maybe it's not the venue, but as a application to your table would be a better one. But at least there's one out here if you need a mathematical engineer. But thank you, Carsten, for taking us through a short presentation, but maybe more. I think we got really good, covered really good ground on the investment case right now through all the questions. So also thank you to the audience for having such a big interest that the question really takes us good around.
Thank you for listening. And let me just end by, like I said, I read all your chats. There is a question mark. Is it good or bad whether Hargreaves is in? Guys, it's good. I can tell you, I've been around the world many times in my past, raising capital, finding credit financing, etc. It's not easy at all. It's very easy with this guy because he really believes in it. So good or bad? Good. I can answer that without any hesitation.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carsten.